hey, it's Wes. And what is this monstrosity? Why, it's the Golden Eagle S80. What is that? Well, let's talk about it. Hit the B-roll. The Golden Eagle S80, at first glance, looks like it is maybe a clone of the Falcon Eyes series of round lights. I previously looked at the SO-48 Falcon Eyes. But if you look any further, you'll see that it's an entirely different beast. Yep, we have diffused round light, but that's about the only thing they have in common. So let's get into it. Number 1, the build quality. This thing is beefy. Compared to a Falcon Eyes, this thing is hardy and heavy. The outer rim here, it's all metal. The back plate, it's metal. The control surface back here, however, these are plastic appendages. And don't make any assumptions that this is weather sealed, because it obviously isn't with all these heating grates on it. We are 40 centimeters in diameter, and we have 100 watts of power output. This is pretty powerful. Overall, including the metal bracket arm and the metal mount at the bottom, this thing is tough as nails, and it gets an easy 9 out of 10 for build quality. Number 2 is the feature set. And, well, this will tell you what this thing does. We have a few more features on this than we do on our competing round lights. This one takes dual Sony batteries. You can also put a V-mount battery pack on this. Additionally, we have a DMX in and out control. That's pretty convenient if you're using a few of these. And you can take the DC in. You have a white balance control, as well as the light output. The swivel arm works pretty well, can be tightened on both sides. And the screen on the back is nice and bright, easy to read, with a battery life indicator. As well, we have a built-in fan that can be shut off if need be. I don't recommend shutting it off, because honestly it's not very loud, and with the light facing away from you, you can't even hear it anymore. Now, my hearing might not be as good as yours, but it's not much of an issue. Overall, the feature set, when it comes to a light like this, the only thing that it could potentially be missing is maybe a remote control, so that's a 9 out of 10 for features. Light quality, and that's what we're here to get, and I have to say, this has the same or slightly better light quality than a Falcon Eyes. This has a CRI of 96 or above, and you can do a white balance between 3200 and 5600. That's a decent coverage, and about the same as the competition. And again, we have nice diffused light up to 100 watts, which is a lot more powerful than one of these Falcon Eyes lights. I'm pointing back here because there is an SO-48 beside me as my side light. Again, it's not my hair light because, well, obvious reasons. The light appears to be completely flicker-free at all levels, which for me would be a complete deal breaker if it wasn't. And the only real limiting point for this, like all of these round lights, is that it is very difficult to diffuse to a larger or smaller source. It's basically the size that it is. If this isn't big enough or is too small for you, well, it's kind of stuck that way. You're gonna lose a point for features because there's no umbrella mount or way of putting a box on this. I wouldn't expect you to, but it limits its versatility. So for features, it's a 9 out of 10. Usability. This is a section for lights that I haven't always had in, and I've added in now because there can be a huge difference in how easy to use various things are. So let's talk about this for this guy. The batteries are very easy to get in and lock into place. That's not always the case. The DMX has locking XLR pins. That's good. Power supply actually can screw on if you want, or you don't have to. And there's no touch screen, which honestly isn't super necessary, but these jog wheels can be used to change the settings of the light very quickly. Super easy to use. I like that we have hard switches for the fans, for the power. You don't have to hold something down or use a software switch. I don't like those for products like this. It's all very simple, very robust, easy to use. But there are a couple downsides to this. Again, there's no remote control. It is very heavy. This weighs easily twice as much as a Falcon Eyes light. Whew. And lastly, my least favorite thing about this light, this power brick. I'd previously talked about the Golden Eagle LED 2000, which is kind of the cousin of this light, also made by Golden Eagle. And I said that I loved that you just had one long 120 volt AC cable running to the light. This, however, you get lots of length, but this power supply is ridiculous. It's huge! And half the time that you're using this light, this guy right here isn't long enough. So it gets up to your light and then it's kind of dangling from the light stand. And then you're running this giant, I don't like these things. It's a bit of a mess to pack, it's a bit of a mess to set up, it dangles and gets in the way. Honestly, I would rather have the power supply on here. You could make it smaller because there's an integrated fan here that would allow you to sink the heat away much more effectively. Or give me a big wall wart to plug it into the wall. Power supplies are getting smaller these days. That is not. Ugh. So anyway, it's still a super easy to use light, my biases aside. It's an 8 out of 10. Honestly, if it weren't for that power brick, it would be a 9 or so. Value. As I've said before, this Golden Eagle S80 competes theoretically pretty directly with the Falcon Eyes round lights. So if we want to go apples to apples, this would compete with the 40cm Falcon Eyes. And that's $310. This comes in at $360. You can get it at the link below from MoLight. If you buy it from them, I don't have an affiliate deal with them. That's the only place to buy it in North America, so I don't get anything. So I've got no skin in the game. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. But we'll keep talking about value. This costs a bit more than the Falcon Eyes round lights. Why is that? Well, the 48 from Falcon Eyes is 48 watts. This is 100 watts. You're getting twice the power. That's why this is thicker and bigger. Now to get that much power from Falcon Eyes, you'd be moving up to one that is twice the size. That's their 108 TDX, 80 centimeters in diameter. Admittedly, that is a lovely size of light. 108 watts, but that is $920. That's a lot of money. So, honestly, this is a pretty solid value. For this size of a light, yeah, you can get at Falcon Eyes for less. But as I said before in my Falcon Eyes review, their lights have just enough power to do what you need to do. This guy here has more power than you need for a lot of circumstances. So when I'm using the Falcon Eyes, a lot of the time it's at 100% power just to get what I need to do. This guy, when I'm using it, it's often at 30 to 50% power. So it all depends on the amount of light output you need. This thing's going to be putting out 2500 lux, whereas the equivalent size Falcon Eyes is putting out 1280. So this has twice as much light output. Another thing that we can compare this to would be the Rhodolite EOS. The $1,000 has twice as much power again than this, 5700 lux, but it's 3 times the price. However, it's smaller and a bit lighter. Now again, you run into diffusion problems. Although it's a little bit easier to diffuse a Rhodolite, because it is smaller, you can stick it into a light modifier. This would be very hard to stick into a light modifier because it's huge and heavy. I could jam it into a softbox, maybe, or point it at an umbrella, but if you point it at an umbrella, it's not going to diffuse properly, because umbrellas are designed to diffuse a point of light radiating evenly from all directions. This is going to create a hot spot in the middle of the umbrella, even though the light is very well diffused. So, for value, it's not super clear-cut, but it is good bang for your buck for this type of product. It's a 7 out of 10. So what does that give us? It gives us a 42 out of 50. That is a solid score. Do I like this? I really do. I like the functions. I like what it does. However, I hate taking this out of my house. It is huge and heavy and bulky. This is phenomenal for a studio setting, for video work, and if you really need that much light. But honestly, it's a bit cumbersome. So when I'm leaving the house, I'll still usually bring the Falcon Eyes or some sort of a light like the LED 2000 that I can break into a diffuser. It's much smaller and easier to take with you. However, This runs on battery. You can't do that with one of those mono lights. Or can you? Coming up in a future video. If you like this, check out the link down in the description. Let Molite know I sent you. I don't have any skin in the game, it doesn't matter to me. But I hope you found this informative. And I hope you'll be able to get some smooth, round light in the future. See how bright this thing is? As I said before, it is brighter than it needs to be. But that can be great, depending on what you do. So until next time, go take some very well lit photos.